everyone. Welcome to another edition of No Filter Sports. See, I got it right this time, the first time.
Yeah.
I am your host, Brian 3SL, and with me is the lovely Miss Kiki, the Black Widow, or whatever nickname she gives herself. I know she gives me a
Hello.
lot of nicknames on another show, but
I see what you did. I see what
yes.
you did there.
so, so
Hi,
anyway,
thanks for having me. Welcome.
yes,
What
yes.
up, though?
So anyway, I took her away. If we're as of our tape date, I took her away from the horror since this is Halloween week, and taking her away from the horror of her Cowboys facing the Niners on Sunday night. So just for a bit, So she'll probably go back to it. You know,
I will.
yeah, she will. Probably the horrors will be on the Niners. Who knows? So, but anyway, I had my horror already. The Ravens lost today on this date. But anyway, speaking of the NFL, since we are chit chatting away, we're supposed to have a guest coming on, so we're waiting for her to pop in if she does.
Okay.
But anyway, how do you feel about the season so far? It's we've kind of unofficially been 2 months. A lot of weirdness, of course, this season, except for the one in Missouri area. But
Mm-hmm.
well, the only weirdness is the fact that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey are still together. That's the only weird thing I don't get. But anyway, I digress. But how do you feel currently overall? How you see the NFL season been this first half of the year?
It's an exciting time. I tend to believe that the early part of the season before game nine is always the most for me. It's a tough battle. It's a battle of wills. You never know what team will rise to the occasion, and we see right now that the teams that we expect to rise did not. The teams that we didn't quite look out for are excelling. Go Detroit. Commanders, Commanders are doing their thing, and these teams you don't really think of in the forefront when you think of winning seasons. And so far, they're doing an amazing job. Doing an amazing job.
Right, yeah. Well, let's start with the NFC initially,
Okay.
because of the fact that there's, I would say now, a more wide open range of
Mhm.
teams that are, because again, there's no full clear cut contenders, but now a lot of nowadays it's like who's the top tier, who's the
Yeah.
contender, who's the pretender, and all that stuff. But I feel
Mhm.
like we can still say officially that the Detroit Lions are the top tier team in the
Absolutely.
NFC.
Absolutely.
Um, do you feel, let's say now, for those behind them, are we still saying the Niners are still contenders, or are they pretending to?
They're pretenders so far. They're barely hanging on. I believe that winning doesn't make you. It's how you win. It's how you win. And their surefire way that they used to win is not what I'm seeing this season so far. So
Mhm.
I'm not taking their wins away from them by in the least. I'm not. I just feel like it's the way that dirty win they used to have, that really strong, gritty, purdy win. I'm not seeing that these days.
Mhm. Now, how about the team in your division, the Eagles? Are they pretenders or?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
they're pretenders. Okay.
Yeah, they're a good team, and it's just again the thing that you think and you know when things start or when things end. Because last year you could see how the season ended, and there's an expectation that they will pick up and they will just get busy. And our division is so stinky. Cowboys fan here. Our division is weak. The Eagles are they don't look like the Eagles that I expected. So,
Mhm.
and again, I'm not taking away their wins. I'm not taking away the fact that they're still fighting and that they're holding their spot in the division above us, I should say.
Mhm.
I ain't taking that from them, but it's just I expected more from them. I
Okay.
expected more consistency. They're inconsistent at this time.
Okay. Now, normally those, like I said, the Niners and Eagles are the teams that are kind of everyone would talk about now because, again, Jalen Hurts, he led the team to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. The
Yes.
Niners, we have Purdy and them last year. So figures like, yeah, everyone will talk about, but I kind of agree what you're saying.
Mhm.
I think in addition to the Niners with their injuries, the Eagles
Yes.
though, I mean they are healthy. They have a great running back now with Saquon Barkley, but
They
now
do.
it just seems like you said, it's that inconsistency, and
Yeah.
it's like when they face a team that they should beat, they will beat them. But a team that may give them problems,
It's a problem.
they'll it's a problem. So
Yes.
somehow it's like, did they show? They'll ask, did they show up or will they show up and stuff. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like that question mark. But anyway, here's another team I add into the pretender mix. Initially,
Okay.
everyone had them as contenders. The Minnesota Vikings. I feel like I knew full well it's like I had to wait until I really see that shoe finally drop, and it did. I feel like this team is they look good, but I think there's something missing.
Yeah.
I mean, they had everyone was praising them. They started off hot, and these last few weeks, I wouldn't say been cold. It just felt like I think they're finally showing their colors a little bit. And
Mhm.
case in point, this is where I also add in the fact that the referees were some BS on that Thursday night game against the Rams. You know full well that was face mask, and you didn't call it, and
You didn't call it.
you just want to get home and get out of LA as quickly as you could because there'll be that whole Dodger traffic that you don't want to deal with. Anywho, but I felt that I even though there's still time left, but I think going into when they especially get into their divisional games, I don't know. I just feel like the Vikings are going to show their, like I said, their true colors of pretending. They start off hot, but they're I can tell they're gonna have some tough fights ahead going into the second half of the season. Do you agree
I
or
was stating, I agree. I was stating that to a coworker of mine that I don't want to say in the strongest definition of the word exposed, they're exposed. They fought their way and they look to be very solid um, until you meet somebody that's solid.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think even in their division, they're getting crushed inside their own division. Their division is tough. Trust me, it's tough. And even I'm going to speak on people were doubting today that the Bears were tough, and their whole division. I think rankings will confuse people. If you're
Mm-hmm.
ranked in your division in a tough division, people think that last is trash. That's untrue.
Right.
That's untrue. So the Vikings, even though they're still trucking, that startup fizzled out fast.
Mm. I get yeah. So, but we'll see how they'll recuperate
Yeah,
going into
right.
second half season. Um, Mind you, we haven't talked about any of the teams in the NFC South because I honestly feel like I don't believe any of those teams will do well whatsoever. Um, Maybe they'll get one of those teams. Like I think if you look, Atlanta and Tampa Bay, I
Yeah.
think are the two teams that will be battling out for the division title. Unfortunately, we see the Saints. Yeah, I don't know, they're deploding. I don't know what word you want to say. Build this blank ploding. It's because really it is. Once
You can use all of them.
yeah,
Use
you
all
all
of
of
them.
it
M,
exploding
D,
in it.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
X.
yeah. So you because Kamara wants to leave. Carr's hurt. We really haven't. The defense has. I mean, they started off okay, but it's just now everything's just fall apart since Carr's injury, and really they just need to regroup in some form or fashion. But unfortunately, the season has already started. So, and we already know how the Panthers are because they don't know which quarterback to put in there. So,
Didn't Kamara pick his place, or no? That was Devontae Adams that picked his
yeah,
place.
Devontae
Sorry,
Adams.
sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So, which I think is ridiculous. So,
I
but
think it's ridiculous.
let me ask you this question, and while I get some water, who do you see as the NFC champion out of this mess?
You speaking of South? If you're speaking of South, I'm gonna take Atlanta. I think Atlanta will push through.
Mm.
just from what I've been watching their games, and they doing what they supposed to do. Even in their division, they pushing through and excelling. I think it'll be Atlanta. You speaking of East,
Yep.
Commanders. Commanders, if they keep up, and it seems to me they're persevering, like they're getting curveballs and they pushing past those curveballs. The fact that that none of us in that division outside of them are competing as hard. Our division, like they're the hardest competitors right now. They'll persevere. You didn't ask me where they was going, right?
All right.
How far they was going.
No. I feel like if you give me your division champions so far,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I think that.
Okay. And the West? Got nobody? There are 4 teams there. You can't pick one.
I know, but I just like nobody freaking.
No one stands out to you. Huh?
No, I mean, look, I think the Seahawks are playing. Nobody. Like nobody stands out to me, and that's terrible. That's terrible. Like they're not doing well.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, even though everyone's like saying good things about Arizona because Kyle Murray finally finally doing some work, but really it's like you're in a bad division. That's all. I just think that's the only true benefit is being in a true bad division, and then you have Los Angeles doesn't really know. Again, the inconsistency of being good, being bad, and winning games which counts and games that don't. And again, we don't know who the issue between the Seahawks and the Niners will be.
Nobody's making sparks. Like honestly, nobody. And honestly, to be truthful to answer your question, it's anybody. I can't pick one person. It's one team. I think it's anybody. We just have to see in that aspect to me. Like nobody is to me. It's no front runners. Like anybody. They're not making no noise like that.
Right. And Niners, I think they've been. I mean, I think Bosa is either in or out.
Yeah.
Kettle is. He's been. Pretty much I have him on a fantasy team, and I keep seeing him with a Q by his name because he's questionable playing these last few weeks. And of course, like I said, the other list of injuries that's been going on from this point on is kind of unfortunate. So really it's just like the Niners that we've seen in these last few years going into the Super Bowl has kind of faded away. So
I see a whole bunch of oxygen masks on the sidelines. It's a lot of injuries, like you saying. So I'm not hating on them. I could never, with the breath in my body, ever give 49ers anything. Could never. I can't bring myself to do it, but I won't count them out. I just feel like nobody's jumping up and getting my notice. Right. What do you think?
The NFC West is. I think that division is more wide open than the NFC East, and like a lot of people would talk about because of the fact that it's just, it just looks like a mess because a lot of those teams have a lot of issues, and I just feel like I have no, like you said, no true front runner in that division, but we'll see. Let's go to the other conference. I'm not talking about the AFC West except for this aspect. I've said this in the game one, and I'm saying it now. We, as fan base, are seeing the bullshit that the Kansas City Chiefs are getting. We're seeing it. It is out there. It is so out there. And I don't care if you're saying, you have these former referees being in your broadcasting booths and you giving them the benefit, giving the rest of those guys on the field the benefit of doubt. It's like, oh, they need to see this and all that, see that. And all this. I've heard that bullshit. We've been seeing the replays. We know there is, It is getting ridiculous.
Now,
Absolutely is.
now, Mr. Man. Now. Are you
So
really on? You're really on the referee train with them? Are you standing on that seriously?
how can you deny the fact that for these past 8 to 9 weeks or whatever, you not see what's been going on? And it's like every coach that faced the Kansas City Chiefs, you go a shot to them, they're arguing with a referee over something that they completely missed on. And it's getting ridiculous. And I went back. Now, mind you, my team, yeah, we got screwed it right from the beginning, where they were calling this illegal formation shit like more times than anything, and the Chiefs
Mhm.
only don't even get called once. But I'm going to the Bengals Chiefs game
Okay.
where everyone was everyone was mainly talking about the pass interference call that blatantly was called, but you completely missed a holding call during that whole thing. I want to go back. There was a play beforehand that I just recently saw that completely didn't make any sense. So apparently the Bengals, as the Chiefs were driving, and they stopped. Pretty much, the Bengals stopped them. It was like the third down. They stopped them, and they figured it's like, okay, they got them off the field, and everyone was expecting them to punt. And if for whatever reason the referees come in and they start saying some random thing, it's like, oh, they got it. It was no flag or anything. It's just they had to reset the whole play because of a clock issue. And it was like, wait, the clock was starting. So what are you talking about? And so they reset the whole thing, and then by the time that happened, the Chiefs offense goes back on the field, and then you see the Bengals coach going ape shit because he's like, "What the hell are you talking about? The play was ran, the clock ran. Why are we resetting this whole thing? It didn't make any sense." Because even the commentators were wondering what the hell was going on because they thought they ran the play.
Yep.
So next thing you know, they ran the play to get a first down, and then everything else that transpired after that. It just like, what the hell? It just none of this stuff makes any sense. So I'm going to say this: Chiefs going to host the AFC title game. Fine. We'll see Taylor Swift there partying with her man. Fine. Until someone blows that team out. Look, the Chiefs will win the AFC West, and they'll probably win the AFC title. I'm going to say this aspect. Now, I'm going to, as for the rest of the division, I still feel like the Ravens are, even though they lost, this game against the Browns, I still feel like this combination of Henry and Lamar is an absolute dueling running threat. We're getting into in this time of rent frame, we're getting into more divisional games. So, and I think their game against the Steelers will be really, really pivotal. Because I don't really think the Steelers, you talk about pretenders, I really don't think the Steelers are a contending team.
But they're holding your division. Like they're
holding the division.
Heading. I'm sorry.
Okay, they holding it. Yeah, they're holding it for us. So, but I just feel that with the Steelers, one, they can't make up their mind which quarterback to put in, even though Russell looked good, last few weeks. Fields looks okay, but really, it's like everything else doesn't look like it's fitting. It to me is it's they're still figuring themselves out. Two, they're facing teams that they should be, which is understandable. But really, it's like I haven't really seen the Steelers played against anybody, until it really counted. And I just think that going into, especially against us, it will be a true testament to see how good or bad they are, depending on how the referees will feel about us that game. But I still feel like it will be a Steelers Ravens battle again for that top spot. So, but I just don't see the Steelers being a true contender. I just don't. There's something not. not right there.
I can see that because they're inconsistent as well, and that's not the Steelers of old. The Steelers of
Right.
old were very consistent. You knew where they stood. They definitely, if they was down in the first quarter, they definitely finished in the second quarter, and that was very consistent. They were known to do things like that. And now it's kind of depend on what day of the month it is, or depends on which quarterback you get, or depends on weather in the stadium. It's just like a lot of things are dependent upon whether they show up. Again, I will never take anyone's wins away. So
No.
I don't want to do that because that's not they earned them, but it's a lot of them are ugly. A lot of them are just almost. And in your division, I see Ravens as the head. I do see that. Though Cleveland is trying, people are just trying to pick up the pieces. I never take anything away from y'all in the North because I think y'all tough. Your whole division is tough, and you fight. That's one thing that I've always admired and or envied. Because I look at our division used to be a tough division and it used to have that same thing, but I don't know if we old, I don't know if people didn't get the memo. I don't know. I don't know if he handed it over. I don't know, but that I don't see our division as tough. I do see yours as, and I think that the Ravens will head it and or win out.
Yeah.
Win out.
Yeah. The AFC East is still, I would still say, wide open as well. Because at first I thought the Bills would just dominate with this, but now it's like, Patriots somehow still in it. The Dolphins, hopefully a healthy Tua, will keep them in it. The Jets are still trying to figure themselves out, even with their new addition with Adams. So it's that whole.
They're climbing though. They're climbing. Because they used to just sit very sedentary at the bottom. Right. Now they got a little float in them. You don't think?
It really depends on Rodgers on offensive wise. Defensive wise, they're supposed to have a good defense, but really it's up and down. I really
don't good today.
They were good today, but the thing is it's the fact that I don't think firing their coach Saleh was. I don't think it was the right move. I mean, it was really his fault. And I just feel like there's more to it than, I know you try to rely on the Jets being this, he had brought in energy. He was changing the culture prior to the last, head coaching job that was there. And I just feel like the Jets are doing the Jet things. It is just like you keep bringing these top tier players, or you bring in this coach that's supposed to be, giving you this team a new dynamic, new direction, and all that stuff, and then it just fizzles out. And I just see that all the time, and especially where you think that there's opportunity for this team to to thrive, again they just fizzle out, and I don't think having an aging quarterback is going to help, because I don't think they're fully prepared. No one ever thinks this is like, you have to think about, if you're going to bring in a veteran quarterback from free agency, you always have to think about your future. The Jets have never done that at all. And even though they did draft a person, they never truly relied on, they never trusted him to be that future, because you put him in a situation where you wanted to win now and all that stuff. And that's always been their problem. Is like you never want to take the time to at least have some veteran presence to help teach your young guy. You're pretty much putting your young guy right in from the back, and then but still have a veteran presence in the background in case your rookie ain't doing so hot. And then that's the situation they've been doing for the last decade. Now,
Mr. Man, Mr. Man.
And I'm not a Jets fan, so to be honest.
Yeah, now. Uncolored one. I think that y'all judged them way too harshly. I don't know if I have like some lenience or some grace for Mr. Rodgers. I don't know if I have that. Maybe I don't know if that's the thing but I have patience and grace with that because I've had to have it for every other team that decided to do something like that. We just think that Aaron Rodgers is just who he is, and it's supposed to shoot off. No, they're trying, and I think the same way happened when Brady went to the Bucs. We had to give them time, and the Jets are not known for being elite. They're not known for anything good and forever. So I think the naysayers in the public thought Aaron Rodgers was the key, and he's part of it. He's one of the keys. I think the coach thing, I agree with you. They shouldn't have fired that coach at that time. At that time, I believe. But where I differ and where I agree is I appreciate owners and GMs who get people the fuck out of there because we don't know how to do it later for that. I digress. So I admire people who understand and identify whatever problem they identify and they try to fix it. So I am patient. I am waiting. I believe that they will turn around. I think the East is the crappy division too. The Patriots ain't doing shit for real. Like especially the Patriots that we expect. The Bills, like you said, we expected them to go blowing stuff out, but they got injuries, and Josh Allen can't do it all by himself. Even though we got some people that went over there, they got some people they got some good pieces that the Bills picked up, pieces that they should have had. But I digress. I'm a little saucy about a bunch of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Dolphins. I don't know what's going on. I don't depend on Tua. I don't even want him back. It's not my team, but I just think that for his health, he should go. And I think that Lions got to start from the bottom again. I just think you got to start from the bottom, and that's okay.
Right.
Because we're used to you being down there anyway.
The AFC South is pretty much Houston Texans is pretty much running that. The real big surprise is Jacksonville.
Yes,
I thought they're building something, and then somehow the entire floor is being pulled from them. I don't know what's going on. I didn't even draft Trevor Lawrence into my fantasy league because I felt like no, there's something wrong here. Because where you were trying to build into, you get into the wild card and all that stuff, and you figure it's like, okay, there's going to be a bright future in Jacksonville again. Now it's like, what the hell? It's. I mean, I don't think Doug Peterson's going to. I would expect him to be fired first before, Jets getting rid of theirs.
Soleil. What's the name again? Soleil. Yeah. I feel like the Colts are shocking me rather. I didn't expect them to jump up. The Titans, I can never give Texans anything. I just won't. My fiber won't allow it. I acknowledge them, but my fiber won't let me say it. And the Jags, it's like, I pray that the Titans will get it together. I pray.
Honestly, I think it's the Texans to win. I mean, the rest of the division is not there. I mean, like you said, the Colts. Richardson cannot stay healthy to save his life. Honestly, it just I don't know. This is his second year, pretty much on the bench because he's injured. I mean, the majority of the time he's injured. So I really don't. I mean, I don't think his NFL career will be very lengthy, which is kind of sad to say. So, but anyway,
I can give division to the Colts. My final say. I'm gonna give that to the Colts. I think
yeah, you don't want to acknowledge the other Texan team. Okay. Okay. So, all right. So, this whole entire NFL, I feel like it's like I said, it's the Kansas City Chiefs to run amok with and call it a day. Everything else, Bills will probably win the East. I think Texans will win the South. I'm praying the Ravens will win the North, but then again, the Steelers are still there. Yeah, and and go from there. But yeah, anyone can beat the Chiefs, please, because they are now officially the most hated team in the NFL. So they dethroned your Cowboys, so that should be a good thing.
I mean, they ain't taking. They need them more of our. Take more of our light. Take more, please. Take more. Don't stop here. Continue.
Because I honestly, like I said, I did like the Chiefs when they went in Super Bowl 54. They were like, okay, cool, you're gonna win your first title in 50 years. Great, I'm gonna support you. And then you go to 55, and it's like, okay, just beat Tom Brady. I'll be happy. Didn't do it. All right. But then these last few years is like, what the hell's going on? And it's like, this team is not really that great. It's kind of reminding me of the Patriots. And I was like, why are we going through another dynasty now? It's not my dynasty, meaning that I wanted the Ravens to go through this, but not them. It is like, there's something's wrong here. And now, like I said, what I've been seeing is like, oh God, they're trying to get him to be a three-peater. Oh, it's like, all right, fine.
They
So
will.
So, and that's the thing is like, look, I respect Andy Reid. I like Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a great guy, but come on. I mean, it's like, now you're going to make him. Andy Reid got a job before Bill Belichick. Mm-hmm. Andy Reid was fighting to try to get the Eagles into Super Bowls and couldn't. He couldn't get his team to beat the Buccaneers when they had the weather advantage and couldn't do it. He had it, T.O. throwing up, crying, and all that stuff, and Donovan Dad, couldn't muster anything to beat the Patriots into the Super Bowl. He tried, and now he gets to Kansas City, and it's like he's now given the whole kit and caboodle, the gates wide open for him, the key, get every known key to the city, and whatever. So I just like, come on.
And they're stacked over there. They are brick house. They are stacked over there. You see, what's the name? Just went there.
Hopkins. Yeah, but Hopkins, he just wants to, at least have a ring. I know he's been on a lot of decent teams that, were contending teams. Mm-hmm. He was on a pretty good Texans team several years ago. Several years ago,
too, right? Did he play with the Cardinals?
Yeah, probably Cardinals too. But
yeah,
again, he's just, he's I don't want to call him a journeyman now, but he's still a really decent receiver, top tier receiver. But it just depends on who's his quarterback. So, yeah, but he wants to go in there and get another ring for the Kansas City. Go right ahead, dude. So
no, they'll get it.
They'll get it. All right, so get out of the NFL, until the end of the year. But we go into the NBA because the NBA has started. Mm-hmm. I initially gave you my rant on your show about the whole issue with LeBron bringing his son in and everything. Now, news reports that Bronny is going to be going to the G League now, so he'll be going back and forth, which I felt like he should have been there from the start. Mm-hmm. So I had these conversations with people, especially our mutual friend Chip and Tez on Chip Chat, stating the fact that it's like, oh, this is a big, great thing. And then all this stuff is like, no, your big time thing happened on opening night. And that was it. From here on out, it's nothing. To me, it's just like, dude is wasting a roster spot. He is not able to play. Even Charles Barkley has said that. He says he should be in the G League. You just pretty much wasted a spot for this dude. You wasted a draft pick for this dude just to do this. Okay, you did this. So now what were we doing here? Okay, I still feel like, mind you, it's early. It's I would wait until after the All-Star break to see where the Lakers are, because normally I just feel like, what they do early, before Christmas, they look like they're, the best team on turf half the time, or court half the time. But by the time, December hits and goes on to the, second half of the year, they disappear, even though they're seen on TV, but they technically disappear.
That's true.
So that's especially these last few years. And everyone I've talked to about the Lakers is like, oh, you got LeBron, you're bringing in money. This is great marketing, especially this scenario. I feels like, what are you doing with your team in the future? And I could say this, like I said earlier about Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Yeah. It's like, you guys are not prepared life after LeBron James. You're not. No team is ever if you're a good team, should be prepared life after your premier star leaves. And the Lakers have had a lot of premier stars, and they've always been prepared. But for some odd reason, ever since I would even since Kobe left, going into, but they lucked out getting LeBron. I don't think the LeBron era is going to salvage the Lakers' legacy from here on out, because the Lakers are not fully prepared for him once he retires or leaves or whatever issue. That's my opinion.
I agree.
So, but any your thoughts about Bronny and LeBron hooking up and father and dad, son, doing their thing?
I think the story was phenomenal. I think we leaned more towards the story than we did the actual, because a lot of people knew and believed that he wasn't ready, but we wanted it to be. I feel like in the interest of making history or making storylines or doing things that never really been done, I think that was worth the trip. It's worth the trip because it was 50-50. It could work out or it couldn't. Had it worked out, oh, amazing. But it didn't. It didn't. And it ain't the first time that they put all, like what Tone say, sold the farm. The first time people have sold the farm for something that didn't work. So we'll see it again. Those who hate LeBron, those who hate him are happy that this is going on, but those who look at the big picture, it could have been dope if it worked. It would have been dope.
I mean, like I said, he'll be back. It's just he needs to go be in the G League. That's it. He just needs to be in the G League. I just felt like, okay, if you drafted him, have him in the G League. Don't put him on the starting lineup. I mean, you just do this to be doing this. I would have waited till he's actually ready to do something like this, but you want to do it opening night, for this. It's like, oh God, why? And it's like, all right, you had your moment. All right, move on. So let's really get to be serious, because in all honesty, like I said, if the Lakers are thinking about their future, they should really reevaluate this whole situation, because keep in mind, LeBron pretty much extorted them. Let's be honest, just to get their son in. I mean, let's not kid ourselves.
I don't think he had to do it. I don't think he had to. I don't think he had
was willing to leave. He was willing to leave if they didn't draft his son. And then I mean, come on. It's like if you look at all the other teams that properly evaluate him, they were not going to draft him at all, especially as a first rounder.
I'm not mad that he used that card. You can use it because probably he wanted to show his son, like, yeah, I believe in you and I will leave. Because it's not like LeBron will not find another home. If he meant that, he stood on that. He meant that shit. You can't say it's extortion because the corporation went for it. The organization went for it.
No, because let's keep in mind, since this is a players' league now, they pretty much dictate of where they want to go, where they want to stay, and all that stuff. He's pretty much, if there's a GM, it's like, I'm just here to say yay or nay, pretty much to say, yeah, everything's good, and claim it that was my decision, but really it wasn't. I mean, let's be fully honest here, because it's like everyone knew LeBron. If I was the GM of the Lakers, I would not draft him. Seriously. It's not because I don't like him, which I don't. I'm not a fan of LeBron. I just feel like based off of the evaluation I got from my scouting team, I do not trust him to be on this team right now. I just don't.
That's fair.
Let someone else have it.
That's fair. I ain't gonna argue that with you. That's fair.
Yeah.
I just want him to do the work and come back. It's just and it's not it. I don't think he should be ashamed. I don't think he should feel like he lost. I don't think he should feel I don't want to say betrayed by his. I just don't think he should feel negatively. It should hurt your feelings a little bit, but that's life. You ain't ready. You ain't ready.
No.
You got time. You're 20. You got time.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. The rest of the league, though, I just have a I'm gonna be fully honest with you. The NBA is really I interpret as a mess to me. Um, I felt that certain teams are getting too much professional, just getting too much high treatment on of being seen and being noticed.
Mhm.
We keep seeing, even though because there's only 29 teams, but we keep seeing, Golden State, Los Angeles. Okay, great. But if they have a below 500 record, why are we seeing them in prime time? Why are we seeing them on ESPN a lot? You got a lot. I feel like the young guys on the newer teams are not really getting to be featured properly. Everyone's saying, "Oh, they are," and it's like, yeah, the only time you get to see, when we saw Edwards from Minnesota, it was in the freaking playoffs. That was it.
Mhm.
You're not promoting that. Jokic didn't really get noticed in Denver until when? Till Denver got into the finals. So
Very true.
you really don't get to build up to knowing these guys on a consistent basis until the playoffs. And mind you, yeah, the NBA for the NBA is like the only time we're fully interested in basketball is around after February, after the All-Star game.
Yes.
So because no one cares about, let's be honest, even the All-Star game is not that interesting anymore. I don't know why they keep doing the dunking contest.
You keep
So
saying that every year.
because it's
Still
not interesting.
generating revenue. That's why it's
Revenue.
still
Yeah,
grabbing. And honestly, because we're older and we've done it so much, the young people, it's still generating revenue. So
I get that. I fully get that. But honestly, it's like, look, being, seeing this through, seeing the guys who are trying to do dunks that Dominique Wilkins done, Jordan done, a lot of notable players have done for the, years past. And you're trying to emulate that, but really I'm seeing the same dunks over and over again, the roundhouse, the slant, whatever. It's just like, and even though you're trying to be creative, you can't be, because you're not creative. You're doing something that was done in the past. Keep in mind, here's the history. They didn't bring back the dunking contest because initially the ABA had the dunking contest, because that's where Dr. J became well known for during their All-Star game. And then it didn't come back until like the mid 80s. They figured it's like, again, like you said, generate interest and revenue into the All-Star game again. And so that's why they brought it in. They need to take it away for a while.
I think old eyes have to stop looking at it. They just new eyes, younger eyes and newer eyes who haven't seen it a gazillion times, and that's the way I think songs, right? You bring a song in that somebody old used to sing and it's past, and now the young people are gravitating towards it. I think that is the trend, and that is a tool. So I believe that, because I'm bored by it, but I believe that tool. I'm not mad they use that as a tool.
I think that, surprisingly enough, the 3-point contest has become more interesting than the dunking contest. Which I think is kind of good, even though, because mind you, this day and age, a lot of people are more into 3-point shots now than ever before. So yeah, that's all. I can feel that version of the during the All-Star game, works. So, but honestly, yeah, the dunking contest, give it a good couple of years off, take it away for a bit, because really it's not that interesting. But yeah, like you said, if it's still for the youngins, let the youngins have it and crap it out. So
yes, please and thank you.
Yes. So how you see the rest of how do you see this NBA season? Is it going to be, or are we going to have another new champion, or are the old schoolers like the Golden State or Los Angeles Lakers going to do something, or what? Or are you still just right now, we'll see, a wait and see?
I think it's wait and see, because again, it's just the excitement about it all, and you have to have time to disconnect from your thoughts, disconnect from a Golden State, to disconnect from those teams that always, every time. You have to, and I think people need at least a couple weeks or month to kind of look around and actually acknowledge what they're seeing. because sometimes we know what it is, and your heart still says, Steph gonna pull through, like, and you expecting that. But I think a couple months give people enough time to disconnect from that thought and to actually view it and see it and watch it, um and open themselves up to it not being Golden State, it being the Mavericks, or it being the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? Someone different.
Mm. Here's the ultimate question.
Detroit.
Or Detroit. Will the Washington Wizards ever get back in the playoffs and be an actual contending team?
Sadly, no. Sadly, no. But Washington is a very hopeful area. We're very hopeful, and as long as look how long they held out for the Commanders, so they just have to. Sadly, no, but we're hopeful. You hope all the way around, all the way around.
True. Well, if you haven't heard, the city, Washington, the city council has now purchased Capital One Arena.
Yeah.
So pretty much they are going to handle all the renovations and all that stuff. So pretty much Ted Leosens won't have to leave, move his team out. So pretty much they're taking control of that. That's the whole initial aspect of this deal. It's supposed to be, but I had had this debate with again Tez and Chip about having the reason for Ted Leosens wanting a new arena, in addition to not just the renovations, just having a new space, because I still feel like there are still issues in that area. If you kind of notice, there's a lot of other surrounding businesses have left since its initial opening. The crime, of course, is gone up, even though some people say, "Oh no, it hasn't." It's like, yeah, it has. Mm-hmm. And then in addition to that, I feel like Ted wants to have a place where they can bring back the All-Star games, both NBA and the NHL, but they wanted to have it a place where it could be kind of like if you go to some of the other cities that had them, it's become this big spectacle. They have it like they take over the blocks, and they and some of the renderings that they had for where it was supposed to, they plan on moving it down to Virginia. It looked like, okay, this is spacious. It's looked like a big festival area, and I kind of picture that, and I think and especially if you want to grab that type of All-Star game revenue in late January and mid February, I think that's something viable for, again, DC area to grasp to. I think the last time the year 2001 or 2000, that's when the Wizards hosted the NBA All-Star game. It was cold. It did snow. Not a lot of people were going around about in the city as you would anticipate in other places, and I think that's the one deter that the NBA officials are not saying, "Oh, we don't want to come back here," which is kind of unfortunate. And then you have the NHL All-Star game, who hasn't been here since 1980. And it's the exact same thing. Even though the Capitals is a hockey town, you have one of the premier hockey players about to break the most epic record of all time, and he has not yet hosted an All-Star game here. He's been everywhere else but here at home. So I can understand why Ted wants to create something bigger and grander and better facility for his teams. But again, you already have other places. You can't really create a whole new venue in DC unless you build it with your own money. And I think I can understand the fact of owners nowadays. Yeah, you don't have the finances to build a $1 billion+ venue anymore because you don't have that. So and you expect the city to put the bill for it, and I think that for them, that's why I think you can add in the fact of why the A's have left Oakland for now, because of the fact is like ownership is either A, too cheap to really put money into their team, or B,
Mhm.
it's kind of the simple fact is like, look, to maintain this venue, I can't keep putting a lot of money into it. So you try to help me or help in a way where it can benefit everybody. And I think in this deal, it helps benefit everybody, because I think for Washington having team in the city with metro access, it helps.
It
So
needs to. Yep.
yeah. So
Nothing
anyway,
but a plus. All pluses.
yeah. But for
Only
right,
thing that's going to be a pain in the tail is the construction.
yeah, yes, and of course, sadly, we just need a winning franchise on the NBA side. The NHL side is great. WNBA, they're rebuilding, but the Wizards, we need to win or go back being the Bullets. I don't care.
That's when they won the most.
Yeah, they won the most as the Bullets. Yeah.
Washington got a thing with them name changes in it. Anyway.
Yeah. Digress. We digress. All right. We're gonna end the show on some fun note. So
Okay.
a while back I saw on Instagram this little thing called, if you have one ticket, which game are you choosing? So the games they had here, and these are very historical games. One was Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game, Kobe's last game, Ray Allen's clutch 3 game, Steph Curry's pull up from the deep to beat OKC, or MJ's last shot against the Utah Jazz in the NBA Finals, or the block where LeBron blocked in the NBA Finals, and of course Kobe's 81 game, and then there's Tracy McGrady's 13 points in 33 seconds, or Kawhi's bouncing buzzer beater with the Raptors against the Sixers. So, any of those games you would have liked to get a ticket with?
How many can I choose?
You only have one ticket, so one ticket for one game.
One ticket. LeBron's a Capricorn. It is between Wilt's 100. I'm gonna be honest. I would love to have seen that, and Kobe's last game, but I'm gonna stick with Kobe's last game.
Okay. Why Kobe's last game?
Just for historical purposes. Just it was an amazing time. The energy was high, and he was on high. He's my favorite player, and that's my team. So and that you will never see again. Like that, he doesn't. There's not another Kobe, so you won't be able to see. Somebody else probably can sneak and put in 100. Somebody else can do 13 points in 30 seconds, or 30 seconds and 30 points in 13 seconds. Yeah, there's still a chance that can be done. So, yeah, and MJ, if he wanted to right now, you know what I'm saying. But Kobe for the win for me.
Okay. I chose Wilt's 100.
Yes.
Because all the other ones I saw on television. I saw on highlight reels. It's like being there. I could be there by watching it on television. So
yeah.
But the Wilt game, 100 game, no one saw on television. It was never on television. It was like, I don't even think it was on radio. It was just, you heard it through newspapers. You see the picture of him holding the 100 sign and everything. So if being there, I mean, I don't know how many people are still alive who actually saw that game. I've heard some people who was there weren't really, stuff like that. So, but if I had that ticket to say I was there to see Wilt scoring 100, I was like, that would be an awesome feat, for me. But yeah, all the other games, again, they're worth going to see, or they were worth the ticket. But officially, I think something that you never saw on television is worth going to. So,
I agree.
So now I'm going to spin this though. So you take that golden ticket, and among all the sporting events throughout the world, throughout history, this one ticket, which event throughout the history of sports would you like to have gone see?
Throughout the history of sports?
Yes, whatever sport, whatever year, whatever historical event that happened then, at one ticket did you have that you would have liked to gone if that you would like to have gone seen?
I would love. So let me clarify. This is one event, one game, like not one
Yep.
season or okay, one game.
No, one game.
Our Cowboys speaking. I would love to have been at a Cowboys like the third Super Bowl, like the third one. I would love to have been at that one.
Oh, during the
Aikman, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So she was Super Bowl 28.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that 28? Yes.
Oh wait,
yes.
no.
Let me.
When is Super Bowl 30 then?
Okay.
Yeah, was there Super Bowl with Billy Switzer as your coach?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So Super Bowl 30. Why that one?
I think as a fan, that was like belief into the organization. That was we peacocked. We were some bad mofos, and I would love to have been at that game just to leave there. And I love Troy Aikman. I don't like him so much now, but I definitely loved him. I think the team had a team mindset. I think the fans had a fan mindset, and I think the onlookers and the haters had a mindset that these people ain't nothing to fuck with. And I would love to have been there to receive every last aspect of that.
Okay. I would say, let's say first, I'm gonna mind you, I'm the host. I can do whatever I want because I'm the one that's game master. So I'm gonna give you a little personal ticket that I would have liked to have gone to. I would have liked to have gone to an actual NHL playoff game. My dad got me for my birthday tickets to see the Capitals versus the Islanders.
Wow.
It was for Game 6.
Yeah, wow.
At that time, those tickets, I mean, mind you, the Caps, they were in, their 7th year of existence, and 10th year in existence, and getting into the playoffs. I think it was their 3rd straight year, but they were dealing with the Islanders, and the Islanders were going after, I think at the time, their 4th Stanley Cup. But anyway, that game, if I would have loved to have gone to that game, because unfortunately, my dad and I had to watch a pivotal Game 5 to see if the Caps won, we would have gone, but unfortunately they lost, and I was pissed.
Sorry.
So, and I know. So and that would have been not only my first hockey game, it would have been my first ever playoff game ever. And getting those tickets, I as a kid getting a playoff tickets is especially around that time, during the 80s, because think about playoff tickets now is crazy expensive. Back then you figured it's like they were crazy expensive then
for that time, right?
For that time. So yeah, and I think my dad, knowing the fact that I was watching hockey a lot more, and he and figured it's like, oh, this is a good time to understand the game a bit better and all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, and him and I, that's again more bonding there, because I watched a lot of hockey, back in the early 80s. But anyway, that's the personal aspect. Now for the actuality to go somewhere in this vast universe, I take my TARDIS and go to this actual game or event. I really would have liked to have the ticket to go see the 83 World Series when the Orioles clinched it. I would like to go and see that live. I felt like in the end, seeing Cal Ripken getting the last out and doing this, and when the Orioles clinching it for the first time since 1970. I was a huge Oriole fan. Again, historical aspect leading during the league championship series. I got in trouble and I kind of missed game one. It's just because my dad punished me by going to my room for game one's league championship series, and then but I still try to sneak in and listen and say, "Boy, go to your room," and I said, "Nah," but I was able to see the World Series, and it throughout. But I would have liked to have gone to that game, that final game, because being part of, I've been to a lot of Oriole games, but being an Oriole fan, seeing him winning a championship, it would have been really great, and it would have been in Philly. So that's the other thing. So just seeing a ticket for that. So. But anyway, I digress. So, but yes, there's some personal feelings to getting that ticket. But hopefully, but this ticket has been punched, and we're going to caboose on out of here.
Yes.
Miss Kiki, where can people find you?
On Instagram. I'm sorry. we got a touchdown. That's what I'm like. It's good. Instagram, I'm at The Web Slinger, DAWEBSLINGA. Facebook, I'm at Kiki Grant. Please don't hesitate to tune in to our show, Real Talk Uncensored, on Beltway Radio and Beyond, on all platforms. Beltway Radio and Beyond, Real Talk Uncensored.
Yes. You've been seeing underground here, my lengthy Instagram, or pretty much the show's Instagram, so you can see what's going on here. But anyway, again, I am Brian 3SL, and this is Miss Kiki. We will see you next time on No Filter Sports. Hopefully there'll be some more interesting things in the NFL and the NBA and God knows what else in sports, but we will be here to unfilter it all. So see you next time.
Peace.